I never thought a tiny "Save the Bees" bumper sticker would turn my quiet life in Willow Creek into a full-blown war. But as I stood in my driveway at 7 a.m., coffee mug shattered at my feet, staring at VY size scratches carved across my Tesla's hood, I realized I'd just been dragged into a fight I didn't start. The morning sun glinted off the damage, making those claw-like gashes look even angrier, stretching from headlight to windshield. My hands shook as I fumbled for my phone to record it, wondering who'd dare do this. Little did I know, this was just the opening shot in a battle that'd end with me owning half the neighborhood and watching the woman responsible get hauled off in handcuffs. I'm Jack Carter, a tech guy who sold his cybersecurity startup for $50 million but kept it hush-hush. I liked Willow Creek's simplicity, modest homes, kids on bikes, the kind of place where you wave at neighbors. But our HOA president, Margaret Hayes, had other ideas. She ruled this place like her personal kingdom, her press blazers and fake smiles hiding a knack for making everyone's life miserable. Just yesterday, I'd slapped that bee sticker on my car, a gift from my daughter, Lily, who's all about saving the planet. It was small, cute, harmless, or so I thought. That's when I heard the sharp saw click-clack saw of heels. Margaret stormed toward me, clutching her infamous blue folder stuffed with violation notices. My neighbor, Tom Grayson, was watering his lawn nearby, shooting me a look that said, "Good luck." He'd been chewed out last month for Leah VYing his Diwali lights up a day too long. "Good morning, Mr. Carter," Margaret chirped, her voice syrupy but her eyes ice-cold. "I see you've modified your vehicle without HOA approval." She flipped open her folder, nails perfect, and slid out a violation notice. "It's just a sticker, Margaret," I said, keeping my cool. "My kid gave it to me." She smirked, quoting some rule from Section 8, Paragraph 4 about exterior modifications needing committee approval. "We have standards, Jack. Property values to protect." I got it. Margaret had turned our neighborhood into her fiefdom, enforcing petty rules to keep everyone in line. She'd bullied old Mr. Patel into ditching his quirky lawn flamingos, claiming they were tacky. She'd hounded Sarah Lopez until she ripped out her vegetable garden for not being on the approved plants list. I muttered I'd think about it, picking up my broken mug's pieces as she slapped the notice under my wiper. 48 hours to remove it," she snapped, strutting off. What Margaret didn't know was I'd installed HD security cameras after some local car break-ins. As soon as she was gone, I checked the footage. There she was, 6:30 a.m., dragging her keys across my hood, muttering about teaching rule breakers a lesson. My jaw dropped. Then Tom jogged over, phone in hand. "I got it too," he whispered, showing his doorbell camera's clip of the same thing. "She's been at it for weeks, targeting anyone who pushes back." My mind raced. Tomorrow, I'd signed the papers for my company's sale, but I'd kept my wealth quiet, levying humbly. Watching Margaret harass Sarah about her wind chimes across the street, I knew something had to change. "Tom," I said, pocketing the notice, "you're a real estate lawyer, right? What do you know about HOA voting and property ownership here?" He grinned, intrigued. "Why?" I smirked. "I'm thinking about some investments in Willow Creek." Inside, I double-checked my camera's cloud storage, hearing Margaret's voice bark at Sarah. "Those chimes aren't approved." She had no idea her perfect little world was about to flip upside down. The next morning, Tom banged on my door, eyes wide, showing more footage. Margaret, in a green robe, keyed my car again, muttering about troublemakers. His folder was thick photos of ruined flower beds, a broken basketball hoop, even his missing garden statues, all tied to Margaret's vendettas. She targeted anyone who questioned her, from Mrs. Kim's landscaping complaints to the Nguyen family's sports gear. I pulled up my banking app. $50 million sat there, surreal. Then I dug into county records, unraveling Margaret's web of shell companies. She wasn't just enforcing rules, she was profiting off forced sales and fines, owning the mortgage company behind most local loans. My phone buzzed another violation notice, this time for my deteriorating car, with a photo of the scratches she saw caused. The fine? $500, due in 7 days. I called my lawyer, Greg, on speaker. Tom's eyes widened as Greg laid out our options. Margaret thought I was just another pushover, but she'd messed with the wrong guy. Tom, would you share this with the judge? I asked. He nodded, just as we heard Margaret's heels outside. She sneered at my car, wearing that same green robe from the footage. My stomach twisted. She wasn't even hiding it. She saw me to know. I opened my laptop and bought the first house for sale in Willow Creek. Then another. Tom stared, stunned. What are you doing? I grinned, forwarding the purchases to Greg. Margaret wants to play with property values? Let's see how she likes a neighbor with deep pockets. Another notice hit my phone. Unauthorized cameras spotted on Tom's doorbell. At the bottom, in red, saw emergency HOA meeting tomorrow. Mandatory. So I wondered how many others she'd broken and how many more houses I could buy before that meeting. By the next evening, I'd quietly bought 6 houses through shell companies, giving me 30 fan tram of the HOA's voting rights. Margaret had no clue. At the community center, she sat on a raised platform, chairs arranged like a courtroom, her smug smile grating my nerves. Tom gave me a thumbs up as neighbors filed in. First order, Margaret purred. Vehicle deterioration. Mr. Carter, your Tesla's scratches and unapproved sticker are an eyesore. She flashed photos of the damage she saw caused, demanding a weekly due $500 fine. I stood, right as Greg walked in. Actually, Margaret, I'd like a vote on that. The room went silent. As the owner of 6 properties, Greg announced, listing them, Jack controls 30 fan tram of the voting rights. Margaret's face paled. She recovered, claiming new rules required pre-approved stickers, pointing to her daughter, Emily, heading a new appearance committee. I shot back, holding up the bylaws. Emergency rules need 72 hours notice. Where's the proof? She stammered about emails nobody got. Chaos erupted. Margaret tried to adjourn, but I called for a no-confidence vote. We stacked the board, but the panic in her eyes said it all. This was just the start. Emily cornered me outside, hissing, You think you're clever? Mom's run this place for 15 years. You don't know what she's capable of. I smiled, climbing into my scratched Tesla. But does she know what I'm capable of? My investigator's email popped up. Saw Hayes Financial Holdings ownership records found. Saw Margaret's empire was crumbling. The next morning, Tom showed me footage of Margaret screaming at Mrs. Alvarez, our elderly neighbor, as hired goons tore out her memorial rose garden. My blood boiled. My inbox filled with more clips. Margaret harassing Mr. Patel, finding single mom Lisa Tran over chalk drawings, deeming the Chin family's wheelchair ramp ugly. That night, I hosted a neighbors' meeting. 20 showed up, sharing horror stories. Mrs. Alvarez brought empanadas, her hands dirty from SAVYing her roses. Mr. Patel joined VY Dale, bankrupted by Margaret's fines. Lisa said, She's breaking laws, but we can't afford to fight. I showed my 6 house purchases, then Mrs. Alvarez's daughter, a paralegal, revealed Margaret enforced rules on land outside HOA jurisdiction. Excitement spread. My security pinged. Emily was now on the board, thinking they were untouchable. But I'd bought 3 more houses and uncovered Margaret's mortgage company scam. We set up an encrypted site for EVY Denke, Lisa's tech-savvy son organizing it. By midnight, we had a decade of abuse documented. Mrs. Alvarez's roses sat in buckets, waiting to be replanted. I hadn't told anyone I owned Margaret's mortgage. That bomb would drop at the perfect moment. The final HOA meeting was packed, Margaret in fake pearls, Emily at the projector. I stood before she spoke. I have footage to share. Murmurs grew as I plugged in my laptop, bypassing Emily. Margaret flushed. This meeting has an agenda. As owner of 35 fan tram of Willow Creek, I said, clicking play. The screen showed her keying my car, then Mrs. Alvarez's. Gasps filled the room. I sent copies to the police, I added. Margaret shrieked. It's fake! But Clips kept rolling her approving a friend's paint color while fining Mrs. Kim for the same, Emily's company getting HOA contracts. Mr. Patel stood, cane shaking. She banned my flamingos but allowed her friend's gnomes. I locked eyes with Margaret. That mortgage company you refinanced with? I own it. And the shell company buying Willow Creek properties. Emily screamed. You can't! I showed the Attorney General's interest in their fines. Margaret lunged for the laptop, tripping, mascara streaking as footage played her destroying Mrs. Alvarez's roses. Mrs. Alvarez stood, phone up. You're live on Facebook, Margaret. My cousin at Channel 5 loves this. Police lights flashed outside. Emily bolted, but Tom's wife, Rachel, blocked her with more videos. I flashed a market analysis. Property values dropped 15 fan tram under Margaret. The real eyesore was you. Officers cuffed them as Margaret grabbed at Evy Denke, too late. Outside, I stuck a new sticker on my repaired Tesla. Saw karma comes full circle. Saw. Margaret's rock through my window sealed her fate. The Attorney General's probe exposed her deals, her board flipped, and her husband's firm ditched her. I built a neighborhood app for transparent votes. Mr. Patel's flamingos returned, Mrs. Alvarez's roses became a butterfly haven, and Tom's farmer's market buzzed. Lisa, once nearly homeless, became board president. Margaret's prison letter, demanding I remove my sticker, hangs framed in my office. Property values? Up 30 fan tram. That scratch-B sticker stays a reminder, mess with the quiet guy, and you might just lose your kingdom.